Tonight on Localite with John Compton, Robin Cope of the Gorge OEN and Gary Rains of the Gorge Angel Investment Network share the stories behind these entrepreneurial organizations. Both Robin and Gary have plenty of advice, experience, and expertise for the business owners and entrepreneurs out there. That's all coming up on Localite.
Gary, Robin, thank you guys for coming in. I'm excited to learn about this, the Oregon Entrepreneur Network and then Gorge Angel Investment Network. And both separate companies or entities, but you guys work a lot together. So who wants to start first with telling me a bit about the organizations?
Well, I'll start. So the Gorge Oregon Entrepreneurs Network, Gorge OEN, is the first chapter of OEN outside of the Portland metro area. We serve Hood River and Wasco counties in Oregon and Klickitat and Skamania counties in Washington. We work very closely with business and economic development organizations in the region, as well as the Gorge Angel Investor Network.
Okay.
So in alignment with OEN, Gorge OEN's mission is to help businesses connect to the resources they need to grow. And we do this primarily through our programs Pub Talk and the Gorge Angel Conference, where we basically set the table for companies to meet one another, to meet service providers like accountants and CPAs, and then also to facilitate introductions to angel investors.
Okay, and I really want to get into angel investors and all of that a little bit later, but you actually founded
well, along
one
with
of the
several other
founders.
people. Right.
So tell me about that. How did that come about?
The OEN was already involved. We were already beginning to do pub talks. We were beginning to do some other things. We were looking for a way to grow it. And the kind of the missing component was an investment group that would give kind of the pub talks and a conference that we were talking about having some legs. So it seemed to be just the natural thing to put together an investor group, put together a purse. The first year was $100,000. Kind of a winner's take all for whoever was the best company that presented at the conference.
Okay.
And it became kind of the natural offshoot of the companies that were participating in the pub talks would then shift to the conference. We had 16 companies the first year who came to the conference and tried to wow us, and we ended up with a nucleus of about 30 investors who come and go, but those 30 investors have been now in 4 years of the Gorge Angel Investor Network.
Okay,
so we've gone through 4 different groups, 4 different conferences, pub talks along the way. We funded 4 different companies and a whole bunch of other side investments on a whole bunch of other companies.
Okay, so GAIN, as it's referred to, is been in existence then in conjunction with Oregon OEN, is that right? Or Portland, was it the Portland OEN? And then this is the Gorge chapter?
This is the Gorge chapter. So let me step back. May I step back?
Yeah.
So in the beginning was OEN in Portland. And OEN is the largest entrepreneurial organization in the state that helps companies connect to the resources they need to grow. They're in their 20th year right now. They deliver over 100 programs a year and produce 2 investment conferences and work very closely with 3 angel investor funds. So in 2006, they got some grant funding to do some outreach beyond Portland. So that's when I became involved with OEN. I started working with them to do outreach in the Gorge and Eastern Oregon.
Okay.
So there's a story out in Eastern Oregon too, but we'll stick with the Gorge.
Yeah.
It's a whole different story.
It's a whole different story.
Different story.
So the first thing we did when we started was we convened like the Small Business Development Center, Mid-Columbia Economic Development District, Hood River County Economic Development. Bill Fashing was there at that time. And we discussed all of the different programs and services that were already in place to help businesses. And we said, what's missing? And across the board, everyone said access to capital and networking. So we took an OEM program called Pub Talk, and Hood River County, in cooperation with OEN, then produced that event and launched that in 2006 in Hood River.
All right.
So as those Pub Talk events became very successful, that's when a couple of investors had coffee. And so one of those was Gary, and then he pulled in the investors to start Gain One. So it was all happening sort of simultaneously.
Okay.
And two of us were already in OEN. Two of us had been in the first round of the Angel Oregon, which was a fund that, the first fund that OEN created.
All right.
And we participated in that. So, so Mark Cameron and I, who've known each other for a long, long time, I enlisted Mark to join and kick off Gain. So we already had some experience. We'd already gone through the whole funding of a company twice through Angel Oregon. I think he's done it more than twice. So bringing the experience out here was fairly easy.
Okay, so it just sort of was something that you were already able to just build upon. Mm-hmm. So there was three, you mentioned there was 3 angel networks under OEN, is that right? Mm-hmm. And one of those is now the Gorge then?
No.
No.
Those 3 are Portland-based. One is the Portland Angel Network, and then there's the Oregon Angel Fund, and then there's the Angel Oregon Fund.
How do you keep them all straight?
Well, it's not that easy, but so they're basically all different groups of people. Some are involved in all 3. They have different companies that they're looking at different stages of development, mm-hmm. and the buy-in on the investor part is different for each of those.
Okay. Well, let's jump right to the Pub Talks then, because obviously that sounds like a very significant piece in all of this. And let's talk about the Pub Talks right here in the Gorge. What exactly are Pub Talks?
So Pub Talk is an informal event, and it takes place in a pub. Or a place like a pub, a very important part. It's an education and networking event. It starts out with eating and drinking, which is always...
That's usually the start of all good things, right?
Mm-hmm, it's a very popular part. And then we have a keynote presentation or a panel that presents information that would be of interest to a business at any stage. Marketing, financing, how to grow your business, various topics.
And who's usually giving that?
Those are either local experts, or sometimes we pull people in from Portland. And then when they are finished, we have an opportunity for 2 companies that are seeking expertise or investment to get up in front of the audience, and we've been giving them a little coaching along the way, to pitch their business model in 10 minutes, no props. We time them, and then they receive immediate feedback from the group. So we like to say that this is practice for these companies if they're getting ready to become angel investor fundable.
Fundable, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, when we come back from the break, I want to continue the conversation about the Pub Talks and understand a little bit more about who these people are that are coming to these, and also more about the investors. So we'll continue the conversation when we come back. Be right back.
After the break.
They see him at Pub Talk. We then talk. We talk a lot, and the Gain members, Robin, will sort of give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down as to whether we really have an interest in the company.